Good. Good morning, good day, good afternoon. Welcome to our weekly broadcast on Facebook at the eBay for Business page. I'm Griff, and joining me today is
Jennifer Deal.
And Jennifer is going to talk a little bit about buyers. This is the second in our series about the modern buyer. And without any further ado, we'll get right into it.
Sure.
So this is our second installment, Jennifer.
That's right.
The Modern Buyer series is, we're profiling buyers, and today we're talking about a generation near and dear to our hearts, because I'm a baby boomer and you're...
I'm Gen X.
So we're covering both of them today. This series explores the current shopping habits and the behaviors and expectations from multiple generations. So if we haven't got to yours yet, we will. Baby boomers and Gen X pioneered eBay back in 1995, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
We did a good job.
I think it was great.
Yes, we're great. So why are we reviewing shopping behaviors across generations?
Well, a lot has changed since 1995. We have now mobile that we can shop on. Mm-hmm. We have, well, first of all, we have the internet.
Yeah.
So we have mobile we can shop on. We have payments that we can do digitally. The landscape has really changed, and now there are 4 generations shopping online. So it's not just us two. We're talking about baby boomers and Gen X today, but there are 2 other generations that are actively involved in the marketplace.
And what do we call those generations?
The next ones coming up are the millennials and Gen Z.
Gen Z. Mm-hmm. We ran out of the alphabet.
We're going to have to stop after that.
Generation A.
Yeah.
Start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning.
To keep in mind, if you've been on eBay for a while, eBay is now old enough at 20, going on 23, mm-hmm. right, in September, that there are people who were born and now are young adults who don't know a world without eBay.
That's right.
Or online shopping in general.
Online shopping.
So this is important stuff. So the article, and when we talk about the article, we're talking about the blog post.
That's right.
Right, there's a blog post, okay. And the article states boomers are the largest population and still have tremendous buying power. Just for the record, there are 80 million baby mm-hmm. boomers in the United States alone. And I didn't know this is an interesting figure, 60 million Gen Xers.
That's right.
So together as a demographic, we make up about 140 million U.S. citizens.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
You can talk a little bit about that.
It's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a lot of opportunity. And so what's interesting about the baby boomers is that they do have some buying power. They have the most disposable income out of all of the generations. And that's important because they have shopping still to come in the years coming. And what we want to be able to do is understand that this isn't an audience to ignore. Gen X, maybe they don't have as much disposable income, but they're in multiple life stages at this point, right? Some are having babies, some are sending kids to college, and everything in between, pets, dogs, these are all categories to think about.
New houses, changing
changing, home and garden. I mean, these are life stages. And so when we talk about baby boomers and Gen X, as a seller, you don't necessarily know who this buyer is, that you don't know that they're a boomer or a Gen X person, but you can set up your store to appeal to both. What we're putting out here in terms of information is the information that they have similarities and just, differences in how they shop mm-hmm. online. And for the seller, it's just how do you think about that and how does it impact your business, if it does?
I'm assuming also there's certain categories that probably appeal more to specific generational groups, not exclusively.
Right.
And without being too crass, it would be hard to find. So Gen X and younger are probably not looking for adult diapers, that sort of thing. So,
well, they could be shopping for a parent potentially
who doesn't know how to shop online yet.
Maybe, right. Yeah.
Is there a generation that's still alive before baby boomers? What do we call them?
I don't know.
Yeah. The greatest generation.
The greatest generation.
Right. So we can't really tell who they are, but you can tell us how they shop, and that may be some information we can use as sellers.
Absolutely. Both of them like their convenience, so that's important. But I'll actually start with the baby boomers. When they shop online, they tend to research a little bit more behind the products, and that's what they do in the stores too. They really think about their purchase, and so they'll spend time with things like product reviews. They'll look at feedback. They will look at the popularity of a product. That's important to them. But they also are about that convenience and making sure that it's a hassle-free experience.
So they like the convenience and they love to research.
Yeah. So that's important. Those are things that we can offer to that particular buyer on the site. The Gen X folks prioritize convenience. And so for them, what that means is they're definitely looking for a hassle-free experience. Of course, similarities are they also want clean pictures and listings that are easy to understand. But if you think about it, if you're shopping on your mobile phone and you're scrolling and you've got like a millisecond to buy the diapers, you want to know that this is the diaper, this is it, and then maybe you need it tomorrow, so you're looking for shipping options, for example. Like I am willing to pay, actually not even me, but I sold an item the other day where I have shipping options on this listing and that person picked priority, not my default of first class.
They wanted it
right?
faster.
They wanted it faster. Yeah. And so having that option is an example of how, as a seller, you could respond to the needs of that particular audience.
Well, I would remind you that incontinence is a mission-critical and time-critical issue. So
super important.
If you're going to sell those type of items, you want to make sure you have maybe express shipping.
Local pickup.
24 hours is a long time to hold it. So right. So we talked about that group, and we'll talk about how the other groups shop in our other times. But so I'm a seller. You've just given me some insight into both how baby boomers shop, what they're looking for, and Gen X. But what do I do with that information? How does this change my listings, my business strategy, what I'm selling? How do I employ this information?
So that's up to the seller. It's not necessary that you have to change anything. It's just more an awareness about what's happening in your store and who's shopping in your store. So, for example, if you're the seller that is only selling Depends, but you
we're going to focus on this now. I'm sorry.
It was the example of the day.
Well, we can use other things: crutches, wheelchairs.
Please use something else.
Okay, so
the producer's not happy.
Producer wants us to
I just
focus
don't
on
think
something
boomers
else.
want to be told that they're going to be shopping for diapers soon. That's a little different.
Told?
valid.
We already are.
That's valid. So, but you can think about something like an inventory mix. If your inventory is only for young people, or only, like, let's say you have baby inventory, right? Yeah. Is a baby boomer really shopping for babies? Maybe they're shopping for grandchild or baby shower, but the core of that audience is probably the Gen X or younger.
Makes sense.
So if you want to be around for 10, 20 years, or however long your business plan is going to stretch, do you need a mix? Do you need to look at something differently? Or in that baby focus, is it inconvenient for you? Or is it inconvenient for the buyer? Is it a week-long shipping versus 2-3 days? And that's something to think about, right? So it's not so much about, I have to change something because of these consumers, because again, you don't necessarily know who they are, but it's a mindset shift about, these are the things influencing that shopper. Do I appeal to them? Do I care to appeal to them?
Well, I think I see that there is a call to action here. I'm starting to become more apparent to me now that we've been discussing this. So, for example, if you're selling, and whatever you're selling, if you've decided for whatever reason for your own convenience, so you're only going to ship once a week, you could be losing out on the Gen X audience that tends to want things quick.
True.
Maybe baby boomers not as fast.
Right.
And just using an example of my own selling, I've learned from trends that there's certain, I like to sell men's shirts, mostly pre-owned. I've learned there's some styles and brand names that were very popular 5-10 years ago that they're kind of waning a little bit, and not the brand so much, but the style of shirt. So very loud, flowery Tommy Bahama shirts, they're not selling like they did 5-10 years ago. And I suspect that's because it's a limited audience. I don't think young people are looking for that particular style. So they may be looking for something different. And it's my job as a seller to find out what it is they're buying.
Right.
And then use that information about their demographic to then maybe add to, enhance, or change my product lines.
Right. But here's the thing, if you don't change your product line, the thing you can think about is you do have this loyal audience out there that knows the brand.
Yeah, you don't
right?
want to just write them off.
You don't want to write them off, but that audience also loves their discounts and their deals. So maybe you want to set up a
Baby
promotion,
boomers.
or the baby boomers.
Yeah, we love deals.
Right. So maybe that's something to think about that you hadn't before.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, some of us are on fixed incomes, so we have disposable income, but we want to make it go as far as
you
possible.
can. Yeah. Yeah, valid. So those are some of the things to think about.
So we're going to ask for questions now. If you have any questions, please type them into the comments section. We'll get to as many relevant questions on this topic as we can. If you have other questions or we don't get to your questions, there are CS folks who monitor this thread, and they'll be stepping in to answer them.
Cool.
Do we have any
we have a
questions
question?
there, Mr. Question and Answer Man?
We have a question from Cindy, and
Hi, Cindy.
Cindy wants to let you know that baby boomers are cleaning and clearing out the treasures that their kids don't want.
Oh,
that was interesting.
That's an excellent point. And what's the implications of this? Lots of stuff that hitting the market that their baby boomers' kids, Generation X and younger, they don't want this stuff. Mm-hmm. That's a challenge.
Well, you can tap into an audience that maybe does on eBay.
Other baby boomers.
Right, other baby boomers.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also think about what are the things so for a Gen X person, for example, my kids may or may not want my stuff. My millennial probably want my stuff. But if you're looking at stores right now, there's this interesting trend where the 80s are back.
Oh, yeah, I see this, yeah.
Yes, so the 80s are back. And so my youngest one, my Gen Z, is looking for all this stuff from the 80s, which the other one could have cared less about.
Right, exactly.
So, and where am I putting that? I'm putting it on eBay.
Of course, yeah. So if you're out thrifting, for example, get all the members only jackets you can find.
That's right.
Yeah, those
I
are
just
hot.
listed, or I have one that I photographed on Sunday. I'm going to post.
Really?
Yeah.
Members only jacket.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you go. Yeah. Yes,
Next
questions.
question.
How do you get young buyers to read item descriptions?
Well, that's a great question. Based on what you just tell me, they tend to be pretty quick.
Yeah.
So if they're on mobile, which a lot of them are, what would be the suggested best practice for the seller?
Yeah. So my first reaction was, well, they're not. They don't. And
you can't force them.
We can't force them to. So that title is going to be really important.
Yeah.
Be clear. Maybe it's not. I don't think it has to be a complete sentence necessarily.
No.
It's what is this item up front? Because if I'm interested enough, or even the younger generation, they'll open the listing and they'll click into it and read.
Yeah. And I would say make sure for all generations, but specifically for that generation, is to make sure that your descriptions are exhaustive. They cover all the points that are important to understand what that item is, but not too verbose, not too wordy. They're not going to scroll through paragraphs full of text and read them. So if you're putting important item information in the middle of paragraphs, you're probably doing your buyer and yourself a disservice.
Yeah, and a picture will tell 1,000 words, right? Like I recently started taking photographs of fashion items with the tape measure right next to it.
Yeah, lots of people do that. Yeah. And it's helpful. They just have to make sure it's accurate.
That's right.
And they can see it exactly what the that way they don't have to search for the measurement. They can just see it in the photo.
Just see it, right? Yeah. Next question.
There's a question. Do you know the metrics of mobile versus desktop sales numbers overall?
For eBay?
Yeah.
For eBay.
Not off the top of my head, but I'm not sure we released
It's
those.
north of 50%.
Yeah,
50%,
it's really high on mobile.
Sorry, more than 50% of purchases are touched by mobile
Right.
on eBay, meaning at some point in the shopping journey, a buyer used a mobile device to either research or purchase.
Or to find it, put it on their want list, and then purchase it on desktop later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just over 50%. And that's
it's significantly higher than 50%.
But and that number is growing, right? That's why that's why we stress the importance of mobile, because your buyers are spending more time using it as, at the very least, as a research tool, but also as a purchase tool. I find myself, as an older guy, that I'm buying mostly everything on mobile. I'll do a lot of research on the desktop, put them in my want list or watch list, and then later on just buy it on mobile. I buy a lot. It's convenient.
It is.
So,
Yeah.
Remember that word, important one, convenience.
61%. I just Googled it.
61%. Okay, so that's a big number.
So here's a question regarding repeat customers.
Sure.
I seldom have repeat customers. What can I do to invite customers back? I send handwritten thank you cards with most purchases over $5.
So customers who might be interested just need reminders, and the best way to do that is to, if you have a store subscription, you can send out once a week a newsletter to all of the buyers who follow you. So the steps would be as this. If you don't have a store, subscribe to one. You can subscribe to a basic store and still get this basic service. Number two, ask your sellers in your collateral, in the packing box and on your invoices and any messaging, and even in your description, a short line saying, hey, if you like buying from me, make sure you follow me for upcoming good deals, and put a link so they can put you on their follow list for followed sellers. Sellers who follow buyers who follow a seller with a store can opt into email reminders, and then you can create a newsletter through the store that you can send out once a week, selected items that you want to highlight, maybe recent new items listed, or you're having a sale or a sale event. And this is the way you can help build your customer base, and then once you've added people to that customer base, communicate upcoming deals to them. Just make sure your promotions and deals are attractive. You can attract people and ask them to be on your list, but if you're just giving them 1 to 5%, 5% discount is probably not going to make a big difference.
Yeah. So before I had a store, another way I would reach out to that customer is, when you check out your shipping label and you can write a note to the buyer, I would just say, hey, looking forward to your next purchase.
Yeah.
Check back, and then sometimes I would list, this is when I usually refresh, right?
Okay, right.
So kind of give them a time frame to come back if.
You can also create a codeless coupon that's just a link that they can use that you've set up, so it's either all or some of your items that gives them a special discount. And then you can send that to them in that message. You can put it in, or you can put it in the collateral and emails. I do that with people, for example, who return items. If somebody returns an item, once we're finished with the return, my message to them is, I'm so sorry this didn't work, but please come back and purchase from me again, and here's a link for 20% off your next purchase.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So these are ways of increasing loyalty on eBay. Of course, the biggest one is just keep offering the merchandise that buyers are looking for at the best price possible and the best experience, and those customers will come back.
Here's an interesting question. In the future, will eBay make it so all listings are mobile-friendly automatically?
That's a great question.
That would be the aspiration,
The
I
ideal.
think. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think
so.
Over time, we've made developments already with our app and the experience on mobile,
Right.
so that we're moving towards that.
Right, and right now there's that, when you're putting a listing together on a desktop, the create a listing, over the description there's a little link that says make this mobile friendly.
Yeah.
And I think what the questioner is asking is, can't that be automatic? And I can't see why not. But when you create a listing, that stuff is just done for you automatically.
Yeah.
Is it possible to retract a counter offer and ultimately accept the buyer's original offer?
Don't think so. I mean, you'd have to correspond with the buyer and then ask them to offer again. It can be complicated. So counteroffer, it can't be withdrawn. No.
How do I compete with buyers shipping out by media mail when they aren't supposed to, and I am shipping by USPS guidelines?
So the media mail, I'm assuming it's something that isn't legal, doesn't meet the requirements for shipping by media mail, but they're still doing it. Well, I definitely wouldn't advise to copy their business strategy, because it's you're going against the regulations of the USPS, and they could find out and return the item, and you'd be a mess. I think it's important to stress the difference between media mail and either priority or first class, which is it's fast. So in your description, say, my price may be a little higher, but you're going to get your item a lot faster than you will through media mail. Some sellers may be offering an option that could take 1, 2, or more weeks. So stress the value proposition for paying for or offering priority or any other expedited shipping method, even first class, which is much quicker than media mail, even parcel select if you have to. So just I would emphasize in your in your listings that speed you offer very quick shipping, 1-day handling hopefully, and your classes of service will get it there faster.
Can you sell an item local pickup only with no option to ship?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can. When you're setting up if you have shipping policies, you'd have to create a new policy that's just local pickup only, and there's no shipping option. So they either come and pick the item up if they purchase it, or they can't have it shipped. And I think we have to wrap it up. Time has really moved on. Jennifer, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's
Thanks for
always a
having me
pleasure.
today.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. You'll be back.
I will.
We have more generations to talk about.
We do.
So we didn't leave your generation out. This is Jennifer Deal. I'm Jim Griffith. And before we sign off, a little housekeeping. Remember to check out the eBay for Business blog at community.ebay.com. Every day, they're writing new articles all the time, and they're very helpful. I even learned something. Can you believe it? eBay Radio broadcasts on the internet at www.ebayradio.com every Tuesday and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Join us. We have a lot of fun, and it's very interesting and information and education at the same time, a little bit of entertainment. So again, I'm Griff. This is Jennifer, and on behalf of our staff, Audrey, and today our answer guy, which is Doug Smith. Thanks, Doug. We'll be back next week. Happy selling, and we'll see you then. Bye now.